Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Everybody, and happy Canada Day to you all! Yes, it is time that we shall do another round of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How have you all been, everybody? It's been a little while since last time. I hope you all had a nice relaxing break during the end of June. I know that I've taken my time to make sure that I've been recollecting myself, that, you know, things would be going better for both me and for my videos and all that kind of stuff. But now that I've gotten the refuel that I've wanted, and so far, hopefully you guys have as well, we can get back into this and really get things going to go and start on AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast again. And also, I have made sure that things will be going a little bit more smoothly, because if you were here live on the last episode during the 300th, then I know that, oh, we got a new fish here. Thank you, J Monty. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I know that the last episode, it was extremely rough and just filled with technical problems, and some that would go really, really bad to the point where I had to go and restart my whole computer for it. But hopefully those technical errors will not happen, and this time around we will go and have one good, smooth episode. And on top of that, we got plenty of great animation and animation-related news to go and discuss. So, one thing that we will make sure is that hopefully this stream will not go as bad as the presidential election, and we shall make sure that we are all going to have one great, consistent time, or one consistently great time overall. Either way, it works. But before I get into this episode in particular, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you prepared for this? Oh, and thank you, KS19, for being our next new fish. But anyways, let's see if people are actually ready. Yes. Oh, okay. I see. People are prepared. That is wonderful to check out. So, with all that said and done, since we are now ready to go and begin this, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story that we have for you today, we're going to be checking out a special little trailer. One that will be showing one of the most anticipated animated shows of this year, in which it will be bringing back, well, not necessarily bring back in a more direct way, but the spirit of it shall return. And I am, of course, talking about one of the greatest, if not possibly the greatest, animated superhero show, Batman the Animated Series, in which we got a brand new spiritual successor that shall be coming soon, oddly enough, not on Max, but on Amazon Prime Video. So with that said, let's go and begin with our first story, as we shall be checking out the trailer for the upcoming Batman series, Batman Caped Crusader. And that is Batman Caped Crusader, to which it will be coming soon on Amazon Prime Video on August 1st. And may I say, like, just right off the bat, holy crap. This trailer, I'm not gonna lie, it is exciting. Honestly, it feels like it's been quite a while since I've legitimately felt excited for a DC series or any DC project in a long time. And I just want to go and state this right now. As you guys probably know, of course, it's no mistake that it has some clear parallels to Batman the Animated Series, especially when you have Bruce Timm on board, who was heavily involved with the original animated series. Now he is back as a producer on this. And on top of that, you also got the assistants where you got the executive producers, J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves, whom the latter, you may recall, he recently worked on Batman with the 2022 movie, which I consider it to be the best Batman movie that we've had since the Lego Batman movie in 2017. And if the animated films don't necessarily count, then I would say that maybe The Batman is not necessarily the best Batman movie out there, but it definitely is the best live-action Batman movie that we've had since The Dark Knight. Like, it did help, like, to go and elevate compared to some of the recent stuff that we have gotten, like, the Zack Snyder crap or Joker or anything like that. So, honestly, having Matt Reeves involved to have his personal touch and the filmmaking style that he got involved, like, add that a little bit onto Caped Crusader to give it that additional detective touch is definitely great and a great positive sign as well. And looking into what we got over here with the Caped Crusader, I honestly love the aesthetic that they are going with, where in a way, this is a little bit like a prequel to Batman. Not necessarily the same origin story that we've all heard many, many times before, but what happened a little bit after that? It's kind of like the first escapades of Batman, and especially how it's all set during the like the rise of the mobster era. So like back during the 1930s and 40s, around that bit of period right there. And what you see during that whole thing is essentially everyone's relationship with Batman. And it's not necessarily as bright as it first seems. You know, like, of course, like, you got the villains that want to go and take down Batman, but it's also how civilians, like the people of Gotham and the police force, how they were first heavily against Batman, that you could tell in the trailer that they kind of have a similar viewpoint, like how J. Jonah Jameson sees Spider-Man. You know, they would go and say, like, Batman is a public menace. We need to go and take him down. He is no different than people like the Penguin or Harley Quinn or any of those jokers. You know, and like we even got a little bit of a taste of that. Like even right at the beginning, like with those little interviews at the start, like over here.
In a handbasket.
Well, he's breaking the law, ain't he? Oops. So they ought to catch that freak and lock him up.
Like, you got a little bit of that, and even, like a little bit forward, like, when you see a chat with the mayor, like, in his press conference.
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal, and his time in Gotham is up.
So that is one thing I gotta say is already very intriguing, is to see Batman's first adventures and how he would gradually gain some of the trust of Gotham. Like, I know with many different versions, like, he's not always very much beloved, you know, it's not in the same way that he would be portrayed satirically in the Lego Batman movie, where he's like this major a major Iron Man style celebrity and stuff like that. It's just the fact that when he did start fighting crime, not many people were cool with his vigilante style that he would go and do. So already, just from that perspective, I find it to be a very intriguing approach with what they want to do with Batman. So already, just with that concept is great. But then there's also another thing that really is appealing to me, is actually in regards to the animation. Like, this animation, oh, by the way, thank you, Meta Ralph, for being another new fish of ours for this episode. But back to what I was saying, the thing is with this animation, I'm honestly really surprised how it stays very true to the original look of Batman the Animated Series. Now, nowadays, when you would see new 2D animated shows, there is a part of it that looks pretty obvious that it was digitally made, that you could tell that it has that old, well, I guess nowadays it's kind of an expired term, but it's like, it has a bit of that flash animation quality that you could tell that it's done with computers, and that the 2D models were like puppets and stuff like that, that you know, some people would have, you know, some of these would have to use shortcuts in order to go and build those shows. But in this case here, the animation quality feels like it still remains true to what we have gotten with Batman the Animated Series, not just with the beautiful art style that we have gotten, like that signature Bruce Timm style that we got from the Batman animated series that is pretty much legendary. But like, even in here, like we do see a lot of that same look, but on top of that, you see the animation is very smooth. You see that it is still reminiscent to how it was back in the 90s, with a little bit of enhancements of CG, especially with the vehicles that you got over here. You know, like, just to show you some examples, like, you see a lot of great action, and not to mention, of course, like, you see great interpretations of the Batman villains that we all love to hate, and even like giving us previews of characters like the Penguin. You also got Two-Face with Harvey Dent. And then, of course, another, well, but then again, you also got another one, which is like a major selling point, of course, is going to be the new version of Harley Quinn, which they very much updated her. And intriguingly enough, one that they have not shown is actually the Joker. There's no confirmation if we're going to be having the Joker in Batman Caped Crusader, or at the very least, we don't have a confirmation if he'll be there in season 1, but we do have our first major taste of what they're going to do with this updated Harley Quinn. And already showing how this one is going to be a more serious version. Like, this isn't the same bubbly type of personality that we all know through the performances of people like Tara Strong or Margot Robbie. No, this is going to be one where it's like, she looks like she knows what she's doing, and she has some real malicious intent. Like, even in those eyes, like, this looks like you have a low survival rate if you see those eyes staring at you. So already with a lot of this, like with the animation, with the characters, already it's just very impressive. And I know there are some people that would go and ask if there are any criticisms, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it is very hard to try to figure out. I don't know if there would be any criticisms that I would find, because like with this trailer, it is very well packed together. Like, they did an amazing job presenting us what they are offering with this. The animation is very impressive. The action is very engaging. The story is extremely intriguing, and it looks like it's giving us a new take on Batman, showing his first years as a vigilante. But still, it remains true to the spirit of Batman as well, sharing the similar kind of tones that we would get in some of the more beloved modern films, like the Christopher Nolan ones, especially The Dark Knight or the 2022 Batman movie. So overall, I feel like with so much of it, I am definitely excited and definitely curious to see what they have in store with Batman Caped Crusader. And by the way, just one more thing, and I'm just going to go and quickly talk about this, because apparently it looks like we got a bit of breaking news, and apparently it says that there is a streaming merger going on. Just want to double check, because like this is like just fresh right here. So apparently this is a CNBC article. It says Paramount is hunting for a streaming partner, could kick off a wave of deals. So it looks like it could be merging with another streamer. And apparently, let's see, like, let's just see the key points. They say that Paramount leaders are having a discussion with a number of companies to explore merging Paramount Plus, its money-losing streaming service. You got Warner Brothers has an interest in merging Max and Paramount Plus as a joint venture, according to people familiar with the matter, and media companies are considering new ways to better monetize streaming content after billions of dollars in losses over the last several years. Oh boy, so not gonna lie, this is actually intriguing. So basically what you're saying is that we might see we might see Paramount Plus might fuse with another company. Now, Paramount itself might not be in another merger, but it looks like Paramount Plus, the streaming platform, might merge with another company in order to save itself. And I mean, with the current status of how Paramount is right now, especially when it decided to walk off from that deal with Skydance, this is not necessarily surprising, but at the same time, oh boy, this is, like, I understand, like, I do see in the chat wall, like, obviously, you guys are not fans of this, and I understand, this definitely is, a pretty concerning report. I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess, like, it is unfortunately necessary for its survival, because, I think at this point, especially with how Paramount Plus has done such significant damage to the company. In fact, a lot of people are saying that it's because of Paramount Plus that is a key factor as to how Paramount has become a crumbled empire that we see right now. I guess it doesn't really have much of a choice but to find a way to go and merge with others. Like, honestly, I could imagine maybe they could just drop Paramount Plus altogether and they can go into a similar route to Sony Pictures, you know, instead of like trying to beat your opponents, you might as well join your opponents and just offer your stuff to Netflix or what have you. You could go into that route. And I know they've already like done some of that, especially with some of the Nickelodeon movies, like with some of the SpongeBob films that they have coming soon, like with Sandy Cheeks and Plankton. And they did that a few times with The Loud House and a few other Nick properties. So that could also be a direction. But if they really want to go and maintain Paramount Plus, yeah, I guess a merger is going to happen. And I mean, I understand it sucks, but yeah, I mean, what the fridge can you do? Paramount is in a critical crisis right now where there is a likelihood where we may no longer have Paramount in the future. So they got to do what they got to do, but we'll see with what happens. And maybe when there's like another developing story that would occur, like if there is a major update to this, then I'll go deeper into the news story. But again, keep in mind, like this is literally just fresh. It literally was just announced. So we'll just see how it goes. Like, honestly, I'm just like putting out my first impressions, my first initial thoughts on like literally something that you guys just thrown at me. Like I was just praising Batman Cape Crusader, and then you guys in the chat wall, you are all like, hey, AniMat, take a look at this. Ta-da! Major Paramount news. Like, okay, like I wasn't expecting that, but might as well say something. I mean, I am right here, you know? All right, but anyways, with that said, we might as well get back on track. Now I want to go and pass this on to you guys. Let's get back into the main subject that I want to talk about. What do you all think about the trailer for Batman Cape Crusader? Did you guys enjoy the trailer? Did you guys think it's exciting? Are you hyped up for it? Do you have any criticisms that I haven't mentioned about? Let me know what you all think about the trailer. All right, so let's see what we got here. I do like this Batman series on Amazon Prime. The animation is great, the action is badass, including Batman himself. I am a big Batman fan, and overall, I am looking forward to this. Also, AniMat, off topic, you better look up the SDH Triplicity document. It talks about the controversy of Dan P. Lyons, but unlike other sexual predators, he's innocent. Here's a link to look up. I've honestly never heard about this whole case, so honestly, I don't know. But anyways, moving right along. Like, I don't know if it is like a major controversy or anything like that. You know, like I got my plan going on, and I mean, I've already went a little bit off the rails for one story. I can't go and do that again for another. But anyways, let's see here. This actually looks promising. It's not on the same level as the animated series, but it does look better than those straight-to-video Batman movies with Matt Reeves on the production table. I kind of want to see how this turns out. And also, a couple of weeks ago, Scott Big Cat Henson, a wrestler, passed away. And he is most notable for being on Your Movie Sucks videos. I know you really don't like that guy, but it would be an honor for me to give him a shout-out. I mean, I don't necessarily hate Your Movie Sucks. Just to go and clarify, I don't have any animosity against Adam or anything like that. But I did hear the news about Big Cat passing away, and I mean, may the dude's legacy live on right there. So sorry to hear about the loss, man. But anyways, let's see what we got here. I don't think I can't comment much on this story since I'm not a major die-hard Batman fan. Casual, but not a major fan. All I can say is that it looks impressive, and I'll give it a watch when it comes out. I am waiting for the Penguin miniseries to come out on Max, though, since I am excited the most when it comes out this fall. Oh yeah, I can imagine, like, the fall, Batman fans are going to be eating very well. Like, not just with the Cape Crusader, but you're right, there's also the Penguin series that's going to be coming out. So it's kind of like after what we got with the Batman, suddenly Matt Reeves' Batman is making a sudden comeback with both the Cape Crusader and the Penguin. That is going to be fun. As someone who definitely enjoyed the Batman, all I see is just nothing but pluses right there. Let's see, what else, what other comments would we have here? Batman the Animated Series is a tough act to follow. So tough that even, Batman the Animated Series itself couldn't follow, BTAS. But I'm really digging this 1930s noir take on The Dark Knight. Bringing back some of the Batman the Animated Series crew along with Matt Reeves was a good call. It's going to give us the best of both worlds. I also appreciate that they made Barbara Gordon a redhead like how she's supposed to be. I just wish that they made Selena Kyle a blonde like how she's supposed to be. I mean, you gotta keep in mind that they are definitely taking a lot of liberties with some of the characters, and I mean, there are gonna be some that will stay true to the origins of Batman, and there are some that they'll definitely take liberties and make some updates. Like, yeah, like with Selena, they did show that she does have black hair, I believe. Like, I know there was a moment where we slowly see, or like we saw just a little bit of Selena. Just want to make sure where the fridge would we find it? Yeah, like right over here actually, just to go and quickly show you. Like you see a little bit, like it's definitely like she's definitely not blonde over here, but you know, like I'm sure they'll stay true to like the essence of who the character is, you know, like kind of like an anti-hero, but also kind of a villain, but also kind of a love interest to Batman at the same time. But also keep in mind, like, they did some drastic changes to Harley Quinn as well. And I mean, if they're not gonna make Harley Quinn a blonde, then chances are they ain't gonna make Catwoman a blonde either. So just to let you know on that. Let's see, what else do we have here? What other comments? All right, I'll go with these two, and then we're going to go on our next break. This looks absolutely dope, and that Bruce Timm style and animation looks absolutely stunning in the 4K look. I love that this is based on how Batman looked in the 1940s comic when Batman was first starting off being popular in the comic industry. Weirdly enough, I actually got some free stickers of the show by Warner Brothers Animation when I went to an event that WBA hosted. It was one of those industry parties that my friends keep inviting me to. Anyways, this show will definitely be amazing. Oh, awesome, dude. All right, so one more comment. Do I even have to say it? This is Batman. This is the Batman we're talking about. one of the greatest DC heroes ever made. And considering it is from Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams, already I'm feeling the hype to know this series is in good hands. And, of course, don't forget about Bruce Timm. Anyways, I'm already at the edge of my seat. Even I can't find anything to critique other than a few of the new designs like Two-Face, for example. But I'm just nitpicking since I think it's original. But all I want to know is, would Hamish Linklater do justice after Conroy? Oh boy, I don't know. It's kind of like what the other comments said. You know, it's a very tough act to follow, and Kevin Conroy is honestly one of the best actors to have ever played Batman. Like, his performance has been absolutely phenomenal in both Batman the Animated Series and the other projects that would follow afterwards. And so far, from what I'm hearing in the voice acting, it is pretty solid. It is actually pretty good. I mean, will it be as good as Kevin Conroy? I don't know. That's going to be very difficult to go and actually get to that standard, but I am hoping that they'll do a great job enough to go and actually, well, no pun intended, to do justice for Batman. But anyways, definitely an awesome trailer. I am loving what I am seeing, and so far I see that the same sentiment can be said with the people in the chat wall. So, if you are excited for Batman Caped Crusader, then once again, keep in mind that it will be coming soon on Amazon Prime Video on August 1st. And we are now going to go on to our first break, and when we do come back, we got one more trailer that we are going to go and watch. And this time around, well, let's just say, for me personally, I am absolutely excited, and I have been waiting for months to know this little piece of information, along with some bonuses that they are going to reveal. So stay tuned, because let's just say that our next story, it's gonna get epic. All right, welcome back. Now, for our next story, before we really get into this one, I want to go and talk about a recent event that happened a couple of weeks ago, and that is regarding the Nintendo Direct. So you may recall Nintendo put out the new Nintendo Direct for the month of June, and there have been a lot of opinions that have been passed around, and for me personally, I just thought that it was okay. It wasn't a terrible one. There were some things that were exciting to know about that Nintendo is going to have coming soon. Like, honestly, I did get excited when I heard about the new Mario and Luigi game with Brothership. And then, of course, that ending with the confirmation that we are going to be getting Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. That's going to be coming out next year. And, of course, the new Legend of Zelda game, which for the first time ever on a Nintendo console, we are finally going to have a Legend of Zelda game where we can actually call the main character Zelda. But the rest, however, I just thought it was They didn't necessarily pique my interest, so overall, I just thought it was, like, okay. I could understand that there are some that they definitely liked it, and, like, they felt absolutely excited by many of the announcements that they made, but for me, it wasn't as memorable as some of the other Nintendo Directs. Especially when there was one announcement in particular that I was really hoping for, and unfortunately it didn't happen. Like, they announced a DLC for Illusions Island, they announced this Looney Tunes sports game, but not for the one that I was really hyping for the most. But it was revealed, apparently, that Disney just wanted to wait the week after to have its own announcement for one little detail about this game. Not just about the release date, but they also decided to reveal much more than that. So with that said, let's go and see that reveal by taking a look at this brand new trailer for the highly anticipated remake, Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. And that is Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed, to which it is officially confirmed that not only can you get this on multiple consoles, including PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS4, and PS5, but you can actually go and get it on September 24th of this year. And on top of that, you can pre-order it now. And I gotta say, when this trailer came up, and especially seeing our boy Warren Spector actually talking about Epic Mickey once again, oh my god, did it put my heart in a flutter. It brought me back to 2010 when all the hype and the announcement of Epic Mickey was revealed, and you see Warren Spector and his old crew at Junction Point just talking about Epic Mickey. Honestly, it just, you know, it brings me back to a more innocent time, like when we first heard about Epic Mickey, when like all the possibilities of like this dark and twisted Disneyland themed game that would be coming out. Oh my god, I just felt that same kind of excitement just return all over again. But on top of that, this is not just to go and reveal the release date, but this is also to go and reveal the Ultimate Collector's Edition that will be coming with Epic Mickey Rebrushed right over here. And the stuff that they have include, if you go and decide to go and get the collector's edition of Epic Mickey Rebrushed, what you will be getting includes a 28-centimeter Mickey Mouse statue. By the way, for those of you who don't understand the metric system, that's almost a foot high. So this is going to be a pretty big statue. And I'm not going to lie, this actually looks beautiful. I would even say that this actually looks better than the figure that you would get in the original collector's edition of Epic Mickey. It actually looks beautiful, especially like when you got a more splatified Mickey, like you see his, you see his body that is just like, you know, not necessarily melting, but you see like the goo that's coming out of his body, and also with his brush that you see the paint just like flowing around. This definitely looks amazing, and definitely the centerpiece of this collector's edition. So this alone, I am excited to go and get. But on top of that, you also get 6 postcards of what seems to be concept art for the remake of the game. On top of that, you also get a steel book of the game itself. So instead of getting the the regular case that you would get with the game, you can get the steelbook version of it. You also receive a little Oswald the Lucky Rabbit keychain. This what they say is a vintage Mickey Mouse tin sign, which honestly, it looks like a license plate, but it is decorated in Epic Mickey Rebrushed. And what I consider to be the most interesting of the additions is that it comes with a costume pack. And honestly, this is one thing that I feel like this trailer just overlooked, but it should be analyzed a little bit more, because it looks like they're going to be bringing back the classic the feature that we got in Epic Mickey 2. Now, I'm just going to go and state this right now. I'm not really a fan of the sequel, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two. In fact, I think, honestly, the game kind of sucked. But one of the good things that it actually did, one thing that I actually liked that feels like it's a bit of a plus compared to the first, is actually the introduction of the costumes, that you could go and change Mickey's costume and have him dressed up as whatever. Like, you could dress him up as Steamboat Willie, you could dress him up as the Brave Little Tailor, you could dress him up as the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And not only do you update the look, but you could also give him some new abilities that would come with those costumes. So it looks like that feature from Epic Mickey 2 might be making a comeback with Epic Mickey Rebrushed, especially when they're already going to go and give out the Brave Little Tailor, Steamboat Willie, and this old football-looking one. Like, yeah, like Mickey, yeah, like this one where it looks like Mickey is ready to go and play football back in the 1920s. So if these are more than just costumes, if it's more than just for the aesthetic, and they actually do come with their own special abilities that you can go and use and actually take advantage while you're exploring around Wasteland, that is already going to be a massive plus. And I think that's going to be a great benefit that will help enhance this game. That, like, one thing that will give it like a step up from the original Epic Mickey, where you would get that extra spice and think about like little additional strategies of what you can do with whatever costumes that you may wear. I mean, they're not necessary in order to play the game, but they could definitely go and help you out, rather it be to go and make you stronger or to collect more e-tickets and stuff like that. That is one thing I am curious to see, and what are they going to do with Epic Mickey Rebrush, and especially to know what more are they going to deliver in terms of those costumes. What other ones are we going to get? Is it just going to be the same ones that we will be getting from Epic Mickey 2, or are they going to add some new exclusive ones? I don't know, but I guess we're going to go and wait and see when, again, the game does actually come out. But so far, it does look exciting. And it is also worth mentioning that technically this isn't going to be exclusive to when you're going to get the collector's edition of Epic Mickey Rebrushed. If you go and pre-order it right now, then you could secure that you can have you can have these costumes, even if you're going to go and get the original edition. So in that regards, like, that's already a bonus that many people are just easily going to go and get. But it's more the physical stuff that really is the big highlight for Epic Mickey Rebrushed, that you would go and get the statue, the postcards, the tin sign, and the keychain, and of course the steel book as well. Those are the main reasons why you would want to go and get the collector's edition of Epic Mickey Rebrushed. However, there is a catch with all this. Before you would go and make your pre-order immediately, there is one crucial piece of information that you must know, and that is regarding the price. Now, they didn't necessarily say it in this trailer right over here, but it is revealed, and I'm going to be using my source here on Nintendo Life, that apparently the price for the collector's edition of Epic Mickey Rebrushed is going to be $200. Yes, it is $200 if you want to go and buy the collector's edition. And by the way, it is also worth noting that apparently it will be a limited edition as well. Apparently they're only going to be making 5,000 of these. Now, I don't know if this means that they're just going to be making 5,000 in total, or if it's going to be 5,000 for each console. Like, if there would be like, if there's going to be like 5,000 of the Switch or 5,000 of the PS5, But either way, though, it is in limited edition, and especially if you want to buy the collector's edition, it's gonna cost you. And it's gonna cost you quite a lot. And I know that this is the thing that is really dividing people. This is the thing that, honestly, it's kind of like a make or break deal if they really want to go and have all this. If all this really is worth $200, and a lot of people have been detracted. Like, they would go and immediately say, hell no, they're not going to go and spend $200 just on a measly keychain and a freaking Mickey Mouse license plate. They ain't going to go that far in order to go and get that game. And I just want to go and state this right now. Honestly, I completely understand where you are coming from. This is not necessarily something that anybody could go and just buy so they can have the cute little bonuses along with the game. This is something in which you'd have to buy if you love Epic Mickey. In fact, even Warren Spector himself actually said it right over here on the trailer. Like, he actually stated that this isn't for anyone. Like, this is actually for the most dedicated fans, like in his own words.
We're releasing a limited collector's edition available today for pre-order. Here's a sneak peek.
Well, okay, it's like literally just before, like right over here.
In console. Not only that, but I'm pleased to announce something special for the ultimate Disney Epic Mickey fan.
So basically, you have to be the ultimate Epic Mickey fan. Which, honestly, there's one thing about that trailer that I personally find it to be pretty cool. Because, like, for me, I listened to that and I'm like, I'm the ultimate Epic Mickey fan. What do you have in store for me, Warren? But yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you really want to go and get the collector's edition, you have to love Epic Mickey. You have to be, like what Warren Spector says, the ultimate Epic Mickey fan. Now, am I going to be getting this? Oh, absolutely. I think I'd be disappointing people if I don't get this. For sure, I want to get my hands on all these things, like especially for the statue and for the steel book. Like, those are the main things for me. Like, I definitely want to go and get my hands on it. But the thing is, for me, it's perfectly understandable. I am a major Epic Mickey fan. In fact, people on the internet still refer to me as the Epic Mickey Files guy. So, of course, the Epic Mickey Files guy needs to have his hands on the Epic Mickey Rebrushed Collector's Edition. But if you are not a major Epic Mickey fan like myself, then it is not recommended that you go out of your way and spend $200 on this. Otherwise, if you're not, if you're not like a major Epic Mickey fan, then how the fridge are you going to explain that you spend $200 on a godforsaken bunny keychain, a bunch of postcards, and a license plate with a freaking rat on it? How can you explain that? No. But if you love Epic Mickey, then this is definitely for you. And of course, this is something that is definitely for me. But overall, though, I will say that with this trailer and with this announcement, honestly, it really makes me happy. Not only do we know when this is officially going to be coming out, but on top of that, the nice little bonus of seeing the Epic Mickey Rebrushed Collector's Edition, see all the nice bonuses that we're going to get. And on top of that, the hidden little announcement that we're also going to be getting, not customizable, but we're getting costumes within the game where you could dress Mickey Mouse however you want. Honestly, I think this is fantastic. So, if you are hyped up like me on Epic Mickey Rebrushed, then keep in mind that the game will be coming out on September 24th. And with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about the release date, but especially, what do you think about the Collector's Edition? And also, will you be getting your hands on Epic Mickey Rebrushed Collector's Edition? Are you willing to spend $200 on that special Collector's Edition? Let me know what you think. All right, let's see what we got here now. Let's see. All right. I've been waiting for its release since it was announced, and I'm very happy that we finally got a September release for the remake. The Collector's Edition looks really cool, though I don't think I can afford it because it's expensive and it'll only be sold in limited quantities. Still an awesome surprise. As for the latest direct, I'm very hyped for the comeback of Mario and Luigi, and I just laugh when anti-woke people complain that Zelda is a main character that you could play as. Like, come on, don't. Yeah, I mean, of course, whenever there's woman, suddenly it's woke. It's, it's the same thing like how they feel with Metroid and stuff like that. If a woman is not a serving man, then suddenly it becomes woke. If it's not fueling their misogyny, it suddenly becomes woke. And it's like something that they just cannot comprehend. Let's see now. What else do we have here? Disney and THQ Nordic are going all out for this release. I'm sadly going to have to get the standard edition, but I'm still excited that we're getting the game updates for modern consoles. When I saw Warren Spector come back for the remaster, I knew we're in safe hands. While this and Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics 2024 is the year of Disney video game remasters. Also, AniMat, don't you have a video series centered around this game that also is due for a remake? That's another story right there. I cannot say right now. I'm not gonna go and comment immediately on that. I know I have in the past, but I ain't saying anything. I mean, like, first I want to get the game itself. Then we will talk about the Epic Mickey files and if there's any potential future plans. I mean, we'll see. I cannot say anything as of yet. Let's see, what else do we have here? What are the comments? We'll go here. Someone who really enjoyed the original Epic Mickey, I am also excited for this remake. I love the visual update of the game that the game got. The gameplay stays true to the original, and the new additions are cool, like the costumes from the second game. So overall, I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Also, one thing I did notice from the trailer is that it seems that they are reusing the 2D cutscenes from the original instead of updating it. Yeah, honestly, that is a good eye. That is actually true, that if you do look in the trailer, you do see those same cutscenes that we got from the original, the same cutscenes in which the style is inspired by the artwork of Mary Blair. And that is one thing that, honestly, I heard a lot of people would go and discuss about, like, if they don't know if is actually going to be released or if it's actually going to happen. But I know there's a lot of people that are asking if in the cutscenes, would we get actual voiceovers, like more so than just Corey Burton playing as Yen Sid? Will we also get Mickey, Oswald, and Gus talking throughout these adventures? And that, from the looks of things, I don't know. I'm just going to say right now, I could be wrong, but I would not be surprised if they would use those same cutscenes along with just the descriptions. I don't know. But then again, I will say, one thing that is missing from all this is that we're not seeing any subtitles. So that is honestly interesting, and maybe that could be one thing that might prove me wrong. So maybe there are voiceovers, but we'll just have to wait and see when the game does get released. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see if just want to see if okay, no, not that one. Okay, well, we'll go with this. Hot dog! It's great that we're finally getting more information on this remaster. As someone who grew up with Epic Mickey 1 and 2, this is really cool to see. I'm still hesitant on getting it since I still have my game in my Wii console. I'm glad that Epic Mickey is getting a second chance for the people who haven't gotten a chance to play it. Also, I'm not surprised about the Ultimate Edition. I've seen other editions that are a lot more pricey. I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, there are definitely a lot, there are definitely more expensive special collector's editions that are out there. But still, though, $200 on one video game is a massive price to pay. That is still pretty expensive right over there. Like, honestly, like, I remember, like, I will admit, like, I am guilty of doing that before. The last time I really did do that is that I actually bought the collector's edition of Tears of the Kingdom. In fact, actually, since I'm here, I actually got it. Just hold on a sec, folks. Let me just go and grab it. It's here. It's just right over here, actually. Like, I got it right over here. Like, this is like I actually did buy. I don't know if you can. Yeah, like I know with my filter here, it's not really showing, and it's like really blurry. But yes, I did buy the collector's edition of Tears of the Kingdom. Like, it definitely is expensive, and it was very hard to get. But I will say, I'm honestly really happy that I got this. And even the bonuses that were included in this, like, they're definitely great. And they are a little bit similar to what we got with with what's been announced for Epic Mickey. So that's just one thing I wanted to show that, yeah, I mean, it ain't my first time buying a collector's edition, and I don't know, it might not be my last either. I am guilty of getting those as well. All right, I think I'll read one more comment, and then we're gonna go and move on to the next story. Let's see. I'll go with I'll go with 2 right over here. I'll say that I've never been this optimistic for this kind of game merch since SpongeBob released the BFF edition of Cosmic Shake in highlight of the BFF necklace and the awesome Sweet Victory statue. And just by seeing what we have here, that just grabbed my interest. that is just getting the game, than just getting the game alone. I did play Epic Mickey once before, but I never really completed it. But for sure, I want to know, what are the updates on this game? I wonder though, does it have a version with his pupils? Well, I mean, if they have the Sorcerer's Apprentice costume, then they probably will, because like, if you play Epic Mickey 2 and you dress Mickey up like in the Sorcerer's Apprentice, they actually do give him his pupils. But you know, and it's funny that you do mention Cosmic Shake, because this is from Purple Lamp and THQ Nordique. This is from the same people that created the remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom and Cosmic Shake. So of course it would make sense that they would also do that kind of treatment for Epic Mickey. So I thought it would be worth mentioning. All right, let's see what we got here. This is something I am definitely keeping my eye on. I remember greatly enjoying Epic Mickey on the Wii, so seeing it getting, in lack of a better term, new coat of paint looks promising. I don't know if I'm getting the $200 edition, but I will have it on my radar of games to look forward to on PS5. Something to cleanse my palate, since Infestation Origins is also coming out this year. Exactly, so once again, now that we finally know when this is going to be coming out, and also you may have an idea of which edition that you may get, so keep in mind that if you are as excited as I am for Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed, then keep in mind that it will be coming out later this year on September 24th. And so with that said, we are going to go on to our next break now. And when we do return, we're going to go back into some animation news in which we will be sticking into the realm of Disney, but this time around, we will be discussing about a brand new record that has been broken. And yes, it is quite an accomplishment from all those emotions, so stay tuned for that. Here. Now, the next story that we shall be discussing about Inside Out 2, the latest animated feature that was released in theaters and what is so far the biggest movie of 2024. When that film came out, holy crap, did it break all sorts of expectations, not just with how the movie itself would be, but also its performance on the box office. It was astronomical. It was admirable. And to this day, people are still saying that Inside Out 2 helped revive the box office, especially when it had such a tremendous start. And at the speed that it was going, honestly, it was only a matter of time that it was going to reach $1 billion at the box office. What people did not expect, however, was how fast it was going to go and reach it. And that is what we are going to go and talk about today. On its third weekend, Inside Out 2 has officially surpassed $1 billion at the worldwide box office. And the first major thing to go and exclaim about how it managed to go and do so, or at least the way that it did so, is that it managed to break the record for the fastest time for an animated feature to cross $1 billion at the worldwide box office. And apparently, according to my source here on Deadline, they say that it managed to do so in just 19 days. So just to go and quickly read you here from this little excerpt here, it states, "There's joy all around as Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2 has crossed the coveted 1 billion milestone at the worldwide box office, with 1.015 or almost $1.015 billion through 19 days. This is the quickest time to the mark for an animated movie ever, besting the previous record holder, Frozen 2, which got there in 25. Only 11 animated films have ever crossed the billion-dollar threshold, and of those, Disney and Pixar combined now have 8. So that's the biggest record that it now officially holds. It's the fact that it was able to go and make $1 billion faster than any other animated feature out there. And it is worth noting, by the way, that as I am recording this, Inside Out 2, like, just to go and jump onto my other source on Box Office Mojo, it is stated that Inside Out 2 now has a domestic total of $469 million domestically, $545.5 million internationally, and a worldwide total of $1,014.8 million. And on top of that, there are also several other records that are worth mentioning over here. On top of what it has managed to do with its fastest time, and on top of that, also being the first movie of 2024 to surpass $1 billion at the box office. It is also worth noting that this is the first time for Pixar since Toy Story 4 back in 2019 that it managed to cross $1 billion. And on top of that, the first time for Disney to have one of their animated films cross $1 billion since Frozen 2 back in 2019. On top of that, there are also some other records that Deadline would go and describe. It would also state right over here, in which it's now at number 18th for the highest grossing animated feature internationally, where it managed to go and surpass Shrek Forever After, Madagascar 3, and Finding Dory. It is also worth noting that it is now the 5th highest grossing animated feature ever domestically, where it managed to beat out Toy Story 3, The Lion King, the original Lion King, by the way, Toy Story 4, and Shrek 2, amongst all the other records that it would go and have, like being amongst the top 10 highest grossing films of all times in numerous of different countries, like being at number 1 in Chile, being at number 3 in Latin America, being at number 3 in Mexico, being at number 6 in Brazil, being at number 5 in Paraguay, just to give out a bunch of also other examples, on top of also being the highest grossing animated feature ever across the Latin America region in Brazil, along with Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, Egypt, Lebanon, and Turkey. And this is just a few other examples that are worth noting. And this is the big thing that we are seeing right now with Inside Out 2. It's the fact that it was able to go and make that tremendous record. I mean, already the fact alone that Inside Out 2 was able to have this kind of success, beforehand, it was once considered unheard of, especially with that pretty much a disastrous year that Disney had back in 2023, or especially when looking at how Disney was performing ever since the pandemic. Like, they had a very rough time, especially with their animated films, to get back on track at the box office. Like, even with many of their other ones, not just with stuff like with Wish and Strange World, but like Elemental at the start, it didn't go well, but then like they got some traction. But then you also got like Lightyear, Raya and the Last Dragon, and even Encanto, they were not doing great at the box office. But now, ever since like the pandemic is no longer much of a problem anymore, now with Inside Out 2, it managed to really get Pixar and Disney back on track with their animated offerings. And more so, kind of, it's almost like building up like the achievements that should have been gotten with stuff like with Elemental and with Wish and with Lightyear and stuff like that. It's like, they were holding back, and then suddenly Inside Out 2 decided to go and pick up the pace and be like, okay, let's go. And throughout the month of June alone, like even before getting into July, it managed to pass $1 billion, even before its direct competitor Despicable Me 4 would be released. It's like Inside Out 2 made sure that it would establish that it is a big success, make sure that it is profitable for Disney and Pixar, make sure it's got all its money, and then they say, okay, Despicable Me 4, now it's your turn, now you can come in and release your movie. Like, it's almost like they would go and do something like that. But still, though, when you do look at the achievement of what Inside Out 2 did, it is honestly admirable, especially when you do compare to the animated films of last year. Like, just this movie alone, like, they made almost every other animated feature at that time, like, honestly, just make their achievements look like it was nothing. Like, a good example, like, if we do revisit their opening number at the box office, or on its like, when you look back at its opening weekend, what it did a couple of weeks ago, like, already starting off domestically at 154.2 million, like, that alone, it pretty much states that what Inside Out 2 did on its opening weekend, like, it pretty much made as much as what Elemental did throughout its entire run. And not to mention that if we also include the worldwide box office, Inside Out 2 managed to outgross every other animated feature that was released in 2023, with the exception of the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And speaking of Spider-Verse, by the way, Inside Out 2 was able to easily manage to outgross that, no problem, where on its 12th day, it was able to surpass its domestic total, where just on June 25th, where it made almost $388 million, it was able to easily surpass Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with how much that did in its entire run. And already, now that it made $1 billion, and not to mention, even on this weekend, it was actually pretty tight. Like, a lot of people were saying that it was a pretty tight race between the third weekend of Inside Out 2 and the newly released A Quiet Place Day 1. But Inside Out 2 just narrowly managed to go and beat the prequel, where Inside Out 2 managed to make 57.4 million, while A Quiet Place Day 1 managed to make 53 million. It's still pretty good. I mean, like, for the horror film, it still did very well. But it shows the power of Inside Out 2 and how well it performs with audiences, even in the long run, where, like, it really is going to be the summer of those emotions. Like, they are showing how they are a massive dominant force at the box office. And again, this is all before Despicable Me 4. This is all before any of its direct competitors would go and come in and then would try to fight for what Inside Out 2 managed to go and achieve. But at this point, though, now that we do see that Inside Out 2 has managed to make an incredible record at an incredibly fast pace, the big question remains. Okay, so now it is confirmed Inside Out 2 is a major hit. It made over $1 billion at the box office, but now it is time to go and wonder, will it go and break the record to become the highest grossing animated feature of all time? Like, I have here the list that's on Wikipedia for all the highest grossing animated features. And right now, if we do include the 2019 Lion King remake, right now, Inside Out 2 stands in 12th place amongst all the other animated features. Like, even like just behind films like Zootopia, Finding Dory, Despicable Me 3, the Toy Story 3 and 4, Minions, and several others. Now, the question is, will we see Inside Out 2 rise to the top? And that, in my honest opinion, I honestly don't know. That I feel like we're gonna have to just wait and see on it. But I am confident that we are going to see Inside Out 2 rise up to the top. Like, at the very least, if not in first place, then honestly, I feel like it's going to be somewhere in the top 10. Like, I think it's going to have a secure spot in the top 10 for sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few days, we're going to see it outgrow Zootopia, Finding Dory, Despicable Me 3, and maybe even Toy Story 3 and 4. I think it'll have no problem whatsoever outgrossing those. We are going to see that in the next few days, even when Despicable Me 4 will be coming out. But the question is, will it be able to go and surpass the others like Minions, The Incredibles 2, or even the first Frozen, or especially one thing that we will have to wait and see, will it be able to surpass the Super Mario Brothers movie, which right now stands at number 3? And honestly, in my opinion, I feel like it could be possible. I feel like maybe in the long run throughout the summer, it'll most likely surpass Minions. And honestly, we'll see if it'll go and beat out Incredibles and Frozen. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for Inside Out 2. Will it be able to go and surpass Incredibles 2 and the first Frozen movie? But overall, I think the big thing to go and determine, one thing we'll have to wait and see is if it will able to go and surpass the Super Mario Brothers movie, because so far it is doing a great job surpassing the achievements of what the Super Mario Brothers movie has done. So there is a possibility that maybe we will see it surpass that feature and maybe make it to $1.4 billion. Now, will it make enough to go and surpass maybe Frozen 2 or maybe even the 2019 Lion King? That, honestly, we're just going to have to wait and see. That, I don't think we will have an immediate confirmation. That, that's honestly a very tall order, especially if it's especially surpassing the Lion King remake, which made $1.66 billion. That's going to be a tough challenge. That's going to be difficult to see if Inside Out 2 will still have that leverage, if it can still be strong enough throughout the summer, if it can go and actually surpass that. But then again, you can argue that there is a chance, especially with the fact that the only 2 animated features that will be in theaters throughout the summer, or at least the major ones, are just going to be Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4. So in that regard, there could be that possibility that because there's not as much competition, that we could see Inside Out 2 rise higher and higher to the top, to the point where maybe it could even cross amongst the top 5. But for now, we're just gonna have to wait and see with how much it will go and rank up. We will see very soon. It's going to be amongst the top 10 highest grossing animated features of all time, but we're just gonna have to wait and see when it will beat the bigger ones, that if it will surpass Minions and Incredibles 2 and Frozen. I guess it will all depend on how well it will perform alongside Despicable Me 4. But still, though, I believe it's just really worth talking about and very fascinating to see the success of Inside Out 2 and how fast it is achieving that success. So once again, I just want to go and say congratulations to the team at Pixar and with director Kelsey Mann. You guys have done a wonderful job at it. I definitely love it. It's already among one of my favorite animated movies of this year so far. So honestly, great job on this, and congratulations on the success. All right, so with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, how do you feel about the rapid success of Inside Out 2, and how do you think it's going to perform in the long run? Do you think Inside Out 2 might have a chance to go and be among the top of the highest grossing animated features of all time? Let me know what you all think. All right, let's see what we got here. I am happy this movie succeeded at the box office, but this does make me concerned about the future of Pixar flicks for the second half of the 2020s. Yeah, we have Elio next year, and we know Toy Story 5 will be coming out in 2026. But I have heard rumors of a Finding Nemo 3 and an Incredibles 3. I really want Pixar to continue making original works and directors' passion projects. I just hope Inside Out 2's success doesn't send the wrong message. At least Inside Out 2 was a planned sequel and not a reworked series. I do understand the concern, but then again, I've already mentioned this before, but Pete Docter did state that Pixar is not giving up on making original movies. At worst, it's going to be like what we have seen back in the 2010s. We are going to be getting a whole bunch of sequels. I mean, it's for sure that we're going to be getting stuff like Toy Story 5, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that we're no longer going to be making we're no longer going to be seeing original films from Pixar. He did state that we are still going to be seeing some of that from the studio. It's just that they're going to be mingling at the same time as the sequels and the follow-ups and stuff like that. So that's just one thing I'd like to go and fully clarify. Yeah, I know, like, some people might be concerned if that means we're gonna be getting more Pixar sequels. Yes, but that doesn't mean we're not getting any Pixar originals. So I just want to go and clarify that. Let's see now. I think Inside Out 2 crossing $1 billion shows that Disney is and always will be a massive powerhouse at the box office if they have the right movie. That wasn't the case with most of the Disney movies last year, but it definitely is the case this year. Either way, I'm so happy Inside Out 2 was able to cross this milestone, and as confident as I am that Despicable Me 4 will be a massive hit, I don't think it'll stop Inside Out 2 from still breaking records and climbing higher on the charts. Exactly, and I mean, we have seen so many times that Pixar movies and Illumination movies, they can live side by side together and they could still be massively successful. Like we've seen this, for example, back in 2016, when both Finding Dory and The Secret Life of Pets have been major hits. And even like when there's one that might be a little bit in a disadvantage compared to the other, that doesn't mean that they're both it doesn't mean that one is like a problem to the other. They can still do well. So I think with both Inside Out 2 and with Despicable Me 4, they'll definitely be fine. I don't think, obviously it's no longer a problem, but continuing forward, it still won't be that much of a problem. All right, let's see what else we have here. I'm glad that Inside Out 2 has reached over $1 billion, and it deserves it well, since Disney hasn't really been doing well since the pandemic hit, and even last year, they weren't doing so well, so they needed something to become a hit, and they did that, so congrats on that. And it's so funny to see these anti-woke people who complain about Disney is dying or so, and they put out their misery. Yeah, well, that's the thing, that, when it comes to these channels, like, the grand majority of it, or just about every single video that they make, like, you just wait even a few weeks, and, like, it'll just be outdated. Like, they're at the point where they're just they're commonly taking the L again and again and again. The thing is, they know that their content, they're poorly aged. They're just doing it for the reactionaries. They're only, the people who do watch anti-woke stuff, or people who do watch right-wing content in general, they can only focus on the now. They're not intelligent enough to look into the future. They don't look that much ahead. If they do have that mental capacity, they wouldn't be conservatives. I'm just saying. Let's see what else we have here now. I absolutely loved Inside Out 2. Honestly, it's not that surprising it made over $1 billion. Between the positive word of mouth and the praise of the first film, it doesn't shock me in the slightest that it's hard to see another movie surpass it. Maybe Deadpool and Wolverine, since it's tracking a bigger opening than Inside Out 2, but worldwide total, it remains to be seen. Oh, exactly. And this is why, just looking at the summer in general, I think it's safe to say that Disney won. Disney won this summer already. Not just with Inside Out 2, but also, when you factor in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which was the only movie that was released in May that actually did well, it's already going great for the company. And then next month, technically we are in July, but in a few weeks, we're going to be getting Deadpool versus Wolverine, and that is already on track to become a massive hit in itself. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that 2024 was the year that Disney made a massive comeback in terms of their movies, both financially and even in terms of what critics have to say. Oh, let's see what else we got here now. Glad they're doing something right for once. After the travesty of their recent works, including Marvel and Star Wars, it sounds like Disney is trying to get their crap together. It's a good movie, but it'll never be as good as The Boy and the Heron, unfortunately. One last thing, AniMat. I love you for making the savage joke on your last stream about K Dot and Drake. I'm still laughing about that to this day. I think Pharrell dissed Drake as well in Double Life. Yes, I actually did hear that. And right now, for those of you who don't know, there's actually a rumor that's going on, and there's actually a bunch of evidence of that apparently the main theme of Despicable Me 4, Double Life, that Pharrell Williams wrote, that is actually a diss track to Drake. That now he's doing his contribution to going after Drake and disguises it as a legitimate Despicable Me song. Like, holy crap, everybody is freaking taking shots. You know that Drake is in a bad position when even Gru and the Minions are joining in this fun to go and take down godforsaken Drake. It is just freaking it's honestly hilarious to see that occur. Oh my god. And I mean, I do get it. Honestly, in my opinion, I do feel like with Inside Out 2, it's not as good as the original Inside Out, and it's debatably not necessarily the best thing to come out of Pixar, but it is still it's still a great thing on its own, and it is still one of the better Pixar movies that have come out. And I mean, yeah, sure, I'll agree, in my opinion, Inside Out 2, it's still not as amazing as, Across the Spider-Verse or Nimona that we got last year, but still solid as is. All right, I think I'll read one more comment, and then we're going to go on to our next break. Let's see now. Inside Out 2 is officially a true billion-dollar hit from Disney and Pixar since 2019, when Toy Story 4 and Frozen 2 made $1 billion. This is great news to hear to ensure that they finally got their big hit they needed since the start of 2020, and all I could say is congrats to the team at Pixar in getting the next billion-dollar success they need. Next question is, what animated film will make another $1 billion? My money is on Toy Story 5, Spider-Verse 3, or Mario 2, to maybe even outgross more. I'm just going to say right now, if we are going to go and predict what is the next animated film to make over $1 billion, right now, the next ones I'll say are going to be maybes. It's going to be coming very soon, but I'm just going to say Despicable Me 4, that has a possibility. I'm not saying that it will, but it definitely has a chance, especially when the pre-sales for tickets, they've already been great. I've heard movie theaters, they actually underestimated excuse me. They underestimated the pre-sales of Despicable Me 4. And apparently they have to brace themselves for a massive audience for that, so that has a possibility. And I'm gonna say right now, if Moana 2 does as well critically as what we're seeing right now with Inside Out 2, even if they're saying oh, maybe it's not as good as the first movie, but it is still great, then I think that also has a possibility as well. As for some of the others that you're saying, I think the same case would be said with Toy Story 5. Mario 2, I think that's a confirmation it'll make $1 billion. I have no doubts on that. Spider-Verse 3, however, I might disagree, especially when the last two movies, they have yet to cross $1 billion. And the thing is that as it is a Lord and Miller movie, it's kind of a weird thing with those films in particular, but internationally, they don't really do well. So even if Spider-Verse would go and make $500 million on the domestic box office alone, they're not going to have the international numbers to go and really help that out. So honestly, I'm definitely hyped up for Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I don't think it's going to be making $1 billion. I'm just saying. All right, so with that said, now I would like to go on to the next break. And when we do come back, we will be discussing of what is going to be, or what the company claims to be, this mega brand that's going to be coming soon. But I'm just going to go and review this mega brand that they're going to be coming out. And let's just say it ain't going to be as mega as it is. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to be analyzing some AI crap. And we are back. Now, for our next story that we got here, we're going to be talking about something that caused a little bit of controversy. This is one thing that often, if you see people talking about this, most likely they got massively upset, mainly because of the fact that there is some AI that was involved with this project. But still, though, that's not stopping the company from trying to hype this up to become a mega brand. They're trying to go and promote this, that this is going to be the next best thing, or it's going to be like the next new phenomenon related to this franchise. And considering how it recently got into the public domain, they decided to go and fully capitalize on it and to take advantage to really make it their own thing. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about Kartoon Studios' Winnie the Pooh. Yes, the company Kartoon Studios has revealed that they are going to be launching their Winnie the Pooh franchise, and they have some massive expectations. They are ready to go and make this as big as Disney's version. In fact, they are hoping that this Winnie the Pooh that you see right over here, it's going to be the next Winnie the Pooh that we all know and love from the Disney projects. In fact, let me go and read you here a little bit from my source here on Animation Magazine, to which it states right over here, Kartoon Studios today announced its largest project ever, a new Winnie the Pooh mega brand. Plans include an animated holiday movie, 5 holiday specials, and a 4-year, 104-episode series to premiere on Prime Video via Cartoon Channel's subscription service on the platform. And apparently, for those of you who don't know, they say that apparently the channel, you would have to first have Amazon Prime Video, and then you got to subscribe to their channel, which apparently they say is an additional $4 a month subscription. Apparently that seems to be the case, because paying for Amazon Prime Video is not enough for them. But anyways, as I was saying, concurrently, Alliance Entertainment, a leading distributor of physical entertainment that supports major nationwide retailers, including Walmart, Target, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble, will debut new merchandise through a nationwide retail program in conjunction with Kartoon Studios' rollout of a global consumer products campaign. Now, we also got a quote here coming from the CEO and chairman of Kartoon Studios, Andy Hayward, in which he states here, commenting about the popularity of Disney's Winnie the Pooh, Disney created an iconic and tremendously successful global brand with Winnie the Pooh that we all admire so much over many decades. When the property went into the public domain, we knew we could only undertake creating Pooh for a new generation if we could bring a completely new, different, and unique look that was contemporary, protectable, and gave voice to the characters and stories created by A.A. Milne, and has never been done. We are thrilled to launch with Amazon Prime Video and Alliance Entertainment to deliver unique, exceptional content as we build out a new iteration of this entertainment brand and Winnie the Pooh branded consumer products to the global marketplace. Now, I know at this point some people might be wondering, well, Matt, you mentioned before that apparently this has some AI involved. Where does AI come into play? Well, the thing is that they're only partly using AI for the production. They're not using AI solely just to go and completely make this entire cartoon, but they did use AI in order to craft the backgrounds and the character designs. And this is something that the CEO really boasted about, in which he actually said over here, in designing Kartoon Studios' Winnie the Pooh, we combined the best of both AI and human creativity to arrive at a unique look to the characters and backgrounds that could not have been imaginable prior to the advent of AI in our industry. Our use of our AI platform will enable us to bring a level of efficiency, speed to market, and creativity to the product heretofore not possible. At a time when our world can be confusing for children, Pooh is an oasis of goodness, grounded in family, friendship, kindness, and love. those are the exact values our version of Pooh will showcase as we focus on bringing Kartoon Studios' Winnie the Pooh into a long-term global mega brand, through which the simple and conforming values A.A. Milne originally imagined will endure forever. Now, they did state apparently, we don't necessarily have a full-on timeline on when these things are going to be coming out, but apparently one of the first things might be the animated holiday movie, which is said to premiere on Christmas Eve in 2025, again through Amazon Prime Video, through Cartoon Channel's $4 a month subscription service. Apparently they're going to be really banking in on that. And let me just go and say that, they're like, I don't know if this is just me, but how many of you felt like you've had so many red flags just like risen up because of the description of what they're giving out with this Winnie the Pooh project? That like there's something like a little too suspicious. Like, I know it cannot just be me. I know, Jay Monty, you just said that, okay, yeah, now we're seeing it. Yeah, many people are raising up their red flags. Exactly. You know, it's not every day that you see someone coming in and just announce that they're going to be releasing a mega brand of something new. Because usually when people do that, it never works. And often it just feels a little bit too suspicious. In fact, first and foremost, let me just go and comment about the obvious, and that is in regards to the use of AI. And already that is giving this project some serious backlash. Like, this is the main reason why you see that most of the comments regarding stuff like this, or regarding Cartoon Studios' Winnie the Pooh, has been so negative. It's mainly because of the use of AI, especially, like, even though it's not used entirely, like, it's just for the backgrounds and it's just for the character designs, but already, like, you can see that there are some problems. And even when you do look at the stuff that they have done with AI, it's noticeable that it is AI generated and it looks way too weird. Like, it looks so off. Like, just on this picture that we have here from, just the picture that we have from Cartoon Studios here. I'll give you like just like this for a better view. Like, you can see something seems a little bit strange, especially with the, like, we got different sizes of trees. Like, we got the big ones back here, but then at the same time, we got like a bunch of random little trees that, like, they look like they're supposed to be bushes, but they're obviously trees. The leaves are so oddly shaped. And then there is this thing, this weird brown thing. What the fridge is this weird brown thing? Like, it doesn't look like a plant. It doesn't look like it blends anything with the scenery. It's just this weird, random, out-of-place black thing. The only way that this would make sense is if they would suddenly announce that, for some reason, they decided to bring in Zach Hadel to go and help with this project. Oh, Zach Hadel decided to come in and, give us his smiling friend's touch onto this project. And right next to the T-posing Winnie the Pooh, we have our brand new little character here named Schlorp. Hey, how are you doing, Schlorp? You're right, Schlorp. Winnie the Pooh is going to have a fun-filled adventure as he's looking for honey. It's just, like, what the fridge is this? Like, can you please, Cartoon, can you please explain what the fridge is a little brown thing? Because if you're not going to be explaining it, I'm going to keep calling it Schlorp for the rest of the days. And not just that, by the way, but you can also look into the character designs. Like, this right here is from the Cartoon Saloon website. And this is the character designs that they have crafted with AI. And I will give it that I do see the direction that they are going with having the characters look like that they're made out of yarn. But even that, like, you can tell that there is something that is just a little bit off with it. And one thing that I will say that it's so noticeable how it's used with AI, it's mainly because of the fact that there's something about them that looks a little too familiar and pretty obvious that the AI systems took a lot of aspects from the Disney characters in order to craft their own. Like you could see with Winnie the Pooh, like with the, like with the yellow color and, the little eyes, like even with the silhouette, it looks very much like the Disney version, even if they decided to switch the red shirt with a scarf. And then like, okay, like Piglet, it does get a bit of a pass. Like, okay, like, but it does look, it looks the most different compared to the Disney, the Disney version. I'll give it that. But then you look at Tigger and you look at Eeyore, like the colors that they have are very much the same. And even some of the designs, they are a little bit familiar. Like there's a lot of it that is taken too much from Disney. It's like, there's a lot of familiarities where you could tell that they copied Disney, but it's not enough for the lawyers to go and notice and to go and make a lawsuit out of it. So, that's the major thing that I want to go and highlight, that, yeah, you used AI, it kind of does show, and there's a look about it that is very much off-putting, especially with the fact that your AI systems would somehow indirectly create things like Schlorp over here. But one thing that I would like to go and say, even if it doesn't use any AI, let's just say that AI suddenly is taken out of the equation and this is all completely handmade by artists and animators. I just gotta say that this right over here, this Winnie the Pooh project that they have, it is way too suspicious because of the fact that they want to immediately present it as a mega brand. And already I feel like, even though like some people could say that, oh, well, I'm no expert in business. I didn't graduate in marketing or business related educations and stuff like that. But even I know that there is no way that you could just create a mega brand on purpose. You can't just go and create something knowing that it's going to be this billion-dollar empire. I can guarantee you for a fact that when Walt Disney and his team of animators were making Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree back during the 1960s, there was no way they could ever imagine the popularity of that Winnie the Pooh would become what it is today. Nobody would ever expect that it would become that billion-dollar empire that many people know and love. And that's the thing with this. I can tell you right now, it doesn't take a psychic to know that this is not going to be as big as Disney's Winnie the Pooh. There is no way that this is going to be popular. The fact that they decided to just go and dish out so many projects at once, decide that, oh, we're not just going to make this one thing and see how it goes. No. They immediately want to go and make like so many things for it. They're going to push out all the merch. They're going to push out an animated holiday movie. They're going to go and push out like a TV show with 104 episodes that will span for 4 years. They're going to go and push out a bunch of specials. They're just going to keep pushing it out again and again, thinking that this is what audiences want. And they're just going to put it exclusively on a service that you need a paywall for. Again, it's something that you can only find on Amazon Prime Video, in which you have to pay $4 a month extra for content that maybe you don't necessarily know, and for this AI Winnie the Pooh franchise. That already right there, it's not just a failure, but there's something about that where I look at the way that they are marketing this, and one question that I have is just, all right, Bob, who you scamming? Because honestly, so much of that feels like the strategy of a scammer. I am getting flashbacks of what they have done with The Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return, and how they were swindling hundreds of, millions of dollars from people just to go and create a failed franchise, despite the fact that they would try to go and market this as like this huge global franchise that would be comparable to what Pixar and DreamWorks would be doing at the time. Like that scale of ridiculousness. And not to mention that on top of that, the CEO of Kartoon Studios really made it clear of what his intention is. It's not about telling the story of Winnie the Pooh. It's not about making this new franchise. He made it clear that he just wants to go and capitalize on Winnie the Pooh's public domain status. That's really all this is. And this right over here, by the way, is the proof of it. You don't have to do that much research because in his own words, he would go and say that his intention is to go and capitalize on Winnie the Pooh. Like, I'm going to read you a couple of quotes where he would literally go and say this right over here. I believe, you got this one right over here where he states, "We think this is a generational opportunity to capitalize on one of the greatest properties ever created with a proven track record. Audiences around the world are demanding healthy, positive, family-friendly stories that will inspire and entertain kids alongside a new line of products from toys to books, videos to apparel and more that are steered in these enriching values." And then even in the bottom right over here, you got the same thing. He would use that same language. "Capitalizing on the enormous equity inherited in A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh, the unique designs and storytelling, as well as the production efficiency by harnessing AI, Kartoon Studios' new iteration of the timeless brand will have an exceptional array of attributes that we believe can lead to extraordinary profitability for the company." Like, that's the main thing he's talking about. It's not necessarily crafting a great story. He's primarily highlighting capitalizing on the Winnie the Pooh brand and profitability. That's all that he is talking about. And that is exactly why I feel like in this case right over here, it's ridiculous. I feel like now it's just that with Winnie the Pooh, they're just, by the way, sorry, I just want to state that I did get a little bit distracted because apparently they're saying another breaking news just occurred, and that apparently Universal's Wicked adaptation is going to be released now on November 22nd instead of being directly released against Moana 2, which is honestly an interesting move right over there. And I'm guessing like it could be related to what we have just seen with Inside Out 2. So maybe Universal just wants to at least distance themselves and give its Wicked adaptation a chance so that it can make some money at the box office instead of taking that risk of being overshadowed by Moana 2. So that could be a possibility. But anyways, back to what I was talking about with Kartoon Studios' Winnie the Pooh. Like, overall, I just feel like it's too obvious what they are trying to do. And it's because of that blatant, obvious message that this studio just wants to capitalize on the public domain status of Winnie the Pooh. It's gonna fail. There is, like, I can objectively tell you that there is no way that this is going to be anywhere near the success of Disney's Winnie the Pooh, and there's no way that they're going to make like $1 billion out of this whatsoever. I like, this is just going to be a wasted effort overall. Like, it's one thing if they would just go and release just a series with a handful of episodes, or even just release a movie out of it. Like, that's honestly fine. But if you're really going to go out of your way and suddenly turn this into a mega franchise, then like, or like not even like turn it into a franchise, but if you're just going to go right off the bat and just release a big, this major franchise with movies and specials and TV episodes and stuff like that, it's not going to work out. You're trying to force out success. And that's the big thing about success. You cannot just force it out. You got to go and test the waters to see if this is what audiences want. And then you would go and release more. That's when you would go and make more. Even the people who made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, they knew this very well. Like, they didn't go right off the bat and decide to go and immediately make this cinematic universe of turning Disney films into like these B-movie horror flicks. They started out a little bit with Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and then they would go and continue to go and make these low-budgeted film franchises. It's a bad look when the people of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is smarter in business than you than what you got here with Winnie the Pooh and Schlorp. Seriously, it's just ridiculous. I just want to go and express my thoughts on this matter because, yeah, honestly, like, it's just ridiculous. The way, like, I find it more ridiculous the way that they're trying to force out a franchise more so than its use of AI. All right, but anyways, with that said, now I would like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, how do you feel about Kartoon Studios' Winnie the Pooh? What do you think about it? And what do you think of its chances of becoming a mega brand? Let me know what you think. All right, let's see what we got here. I was excited for a Winnie the Pooh project that's not a horror film initially. That is until I read that they're using AI. I was like, actually, I take it back. Ew. It's actually bad enough that they made a bad impression with a T-posing Pooh Bear and a new random character named Schlorp. They might be a memeable character. It's definitely giving me some Legends of Oz vibes, and it sounds very sus. I'd rather not give this a chance because of the use of AI. And about Legends of Oz, there will be a... And then the comment stops, unfortunately. But anyways, honestly, I'm not trying to on purpose to be positive, but still better than the horror version. But that's not saying much. I will admit they did make some cute redesigns, except maybe for Eeyore, but I can agree that this is definitely feels like a scam, and the addition is going to be made with AI. For sure, this is not going to be good. Disney already made him an indefinite character. You can't just be Guillermo del Toro and believe it'll be good, and even if possible, it's not going to work. No, exactly. Like, especially if you're focusing a lot more on trying to present this and trying to show how it's going to be a brand. If you're emphasizing more on its profitability more so than its quality, then at that point, like, you might as well just stop right there and restart everything. Like, honestly, you already created a failure. Let's see now. This is some Legends of Oz crap I'm looking at, but with Winnie the Pooh and crappy AI no one wants, and yet many companies want to use. Yeah, this is absolute doom from the start, and I hope it fails to show them that AI has no place to create art. I said this before, but AI art is nothing but stolen art. That's it. By the way, just picked up my copy of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on Criterion today. It's a sale day at Barnes & Noble. Ooh, nice. I already got my copy, so I'm all good there. Let's see, what other comments would we have here? This is honestly a terrible idea. The fact that they want to try to make their own version of Winnie the Pooh and to do so much with it to capitalize on Disney's version is bad. And the use of AI just makes it so much worse. Seriously, I never thought I'd say this, but can we have the horror Winnie the Pooh back? At least that was made by real people. Exactly. That's why I would disagree with that other comment saying that, well, at least it's better than the horror film. No, not really. The fact that you're using AI... Like, it's, no, it's, like, already you just lost right there. You know, you're taking away people's jobs in favor of trying to use some worthless technology that barely even works in the first place. Like, already, you just failed right there. You know, like, say what you will about Blood and Honey, but at least, like, actual people made that. Let's see, I think I'll read 2 more comments, and then we're gonna move on to our final break. Let's see. It's surprising to see another original Winnie the Pooh movie ever since Disney's version and Blood and Honey, which I don't want to talk about. But not something like this. I mean, seriously, what's with AI nowadays? I feel like we're going to be living in an age where AI is going to become the new animation and entertainment industries, and we're not ready for it. I am not looking forward to it, so I'll give it a pass. Also, has anyone seen the trailer of Monster Camp? It looks horrifying. Honestly, I have not, so I cannot really comment on that. But honestly, I will say, though, when it comes to AI, I don't think, like, in my opinion, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be at the point where, like, suddenly the animation industry is going to be covered with nothing but AI, because the question is, like, yeah, companies will be really into AI, but is it going to be profitable, though? Because if AI becomes a detriment of their profits, then you'll see that thing extinct fast. Like, it's not going to be long when AI is going to be the next AFTs and crypto, where it's just going to be losing money altogether. And the only people who are going to be doing it are selfish douchebags that are not intelligent enough to remain rich, and it's because of their own lack of intelligence that they will remain poor. All right, I'll read one more comment, and then we're going to go in our final break. Let's see what we got. Okay, I might as well. Or this one. I don't know if I've read. Yeah, I don't think I've read this one. I'll go with. Actually. Yeah, I'll go. Okay, I'll just go with this one. Sorry. AI Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, that sounds like a right endorsement. This feels like a dirty trick. The paywall is one thing, but the whole franchise. Yeah, one thing at a time, dude. I hope this bombs and shows everyone why Winnie the Pooh doesn't need AI. I'd rather watch Blood and Honey than this. Yeah, exactly, man. All right, so we got one more story, but before we do that, we're going to go and take a break. And when we do return, we're going to go and lighten up the mood, and we will actually see the comeback of certain beloved characters, but don't worry, there won't be AI with these ones. Instead, we're getting a lot more onions, so stay tuned for that. And now, everyone, it is time that we shall go and cap off this episode off with the grand finale. And for this grand finale, we're going to be talking about two animated movies that we have heard about some. Not a lot, but we've only heard some of it. We didn't necessarily have any updates for long, and a lot of it was just rumors. But it looks like we are one step closer to having a confirmation. It's not an official word from the studios, but we are getting a bit of an idea that, like, it's getting closer and closer to becoming a reality. And I know that I keep saying some, but some of you might be wondering, what do I mean by some? Well, the thing is, it's just somebody once told me the world is gonna rule me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. Yes, folks, I am indeed talking about Shrek 5, the very long-awaited sequel to the Shrek franchise. And apparently, this actually occurred when there was an interview regarding the upcoming movie Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which stars, of course, Eddie Murphy. And apparently during that interview, they did actually talk about the possibility of having more Shrek movies. And Eddie Murphy did indeed confirm that he is at work at DreamWorks Animation working on a Shrek 5. And on top of that, he also revealed that they are also discussing about the possibility that we could be having a spin-off movie starring Donkey. So let me go and read you here from my source on Collider, to which it states right over here. In his response, Murphy revealed, "We started doing Shrek 4, Shrek 5 months ago. I did this. I recorded the first act and we'll be doing it this year. We'll finish it up. Shrek is coming out and Donkey's gonna have his own movie. We're gonna do Donkey as well. So we're gonna do a Shrek and we're doing a Donkey movie." Murphy, who has voiced the lovable and hilarious Donkey since the original Shrek film debuted in 2001, elaborated on the plans for his character's solo film. When asked if he was recording for both projects simultaneously, he clarified, "No, not at the same time. I started recording Shrek. I think it's coming out in 2025, and we're doing a Donkey one next." So that's pretty much the big thing that is apparently revealed, is the fact that now we are going to have a Shrek 5 and a Donkey movie. Or at the very least, that seems to be what Eddie Murphy is currently working at DreamWorks Animation, where right now he's starting off with doing his recordings for Shrek 5, where he will be playing Donkey, and then later on, there will be plans to have a Donkey spin-off film. And honestly, in that regard, I don't think it's that much of a surprise. And that is especially with the fact that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was one of the most unexpected hits that we would have from DreamWorks Animation. I remember that I would have a chat with this with several other people, and I think it was Rachel of Rachel Reviews who actually said it best, that with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, it was a movie that you would never expect to be this massive hit. I mean, we're talking about a movie that is a sequel to a spin-off that was released over a decade ago, and then suddenly they would come out with this new movie where, in a way, it also served as a reboot where they completely changed up the look of the franchise entirely, deciding to go with this new stylized and very enriched look that gave the franchise this very necessary update where they're not just sticking to this uncanny, realistic look that they've had in the previous 4 features and a little bit in the original Puss in Boots as well. And even taking it to this new direction, even like updating some of the characters where Puss in Boots himself is a little bit more different than what we may remember him from the from the original Puss in Boots movie and from the Shrek films as well. It pretty much opened up the possibility that maybe having new Shrek films, especially if it looks something like that, it pretty much opened up for people to go and say, hell yeah, why not? Why not actually have more Shrek films, especially if they're going to pull off something that looks like this, especially when they decided to go and take a more Spider-Verse-like a look into it, or this Spider-Verse-like direction where they would take with this franchise. And not to mention that with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, you do get little hints related to Shrek, or we would see like a potential return. And I'm not just talking about the new opening or the new like logo animation that they would do with DreamWorks Animation, where we would often see Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona team up with the Moonchild. But there were also like little moments where you see like this one sudden flashback with Puss, like you see like a quick moment where you see Puss with Shrek and Donkey. And then of course you got the post credits, which spoiler alert, you see Puss, Kitty, and Perito, where they would go and set sail and they go into the land of far, far away, where they would potentially reunite with Shrek and Donkey and Fiona and all those other characters. So with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, like, not only was it a tremendous success, not only did it suddenly come out as like one of the best Shrek films that we've had in a long time, or one of the best Shrek films ever, but also the fact that it just opens up the possibility that, okay, if you're going to take this new direction with the Shrek franchise, why don't we go and bring back Shrek? So I guess the word is already out, and like, obviously they have DreamWorks has definitely listened, so no surprise that they are considering the idea of a Shrek 5. Now, I just want to go and say this right now. I don't want to I don't want to be like I don't want to be pessimistic, but keep in mind that like it is still pretty early in production, and this doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be getting that Shrek 5. It can happen if maybe in the production it's not going to go well and like that whole plan might be dropped. There is that possibility. But from the looks of things so far, it looks like it is well underway, and they're already working with people like Eddie Murphy to go and, to give Shrek his proper comeback. Not to mention having other characters their own time to shine. I mean, if a Puss in Boots spinoff works well, why not actually have a spinoff with Donkey? Like there could be a possibility they could find some great ideas with that character, that maybe they'll give him his own adventures, or maybe explore different genres with Donkey that normally they wouldn't be able to do with either the Puss in Boots movies or with Shrek. Maybe they could find some new ideas of how they could go and expand the franchise with Donkey as well. There is that possibility. However, there is one thing that I do want to comment, and this is something that I'm pretty sure it ain't freaking happening. And that is in regards to Eddie Murphy's comment on when that Shrek 5 is going to be released, in which he says that I think it's going to be coming out in 2025. I'm sorry, but I think we're going to have to wait a little bit longer than 2025. There ain't no way that they're going to be bringing out this Shrek film in 2025. And the main reason that I want to say this is because of the fact that, well, number one, this is not official word from the studio. Like, if you want to be sure that that a movie would have a definitive release date, then wait until either Universal or DreamWorks would go and say something about it. Actors are not usually the most reliable sources when it comes to release date. They wouldn't be as much into the loop on those factors than they would be in terms of like their involvement on the work. Yes, they would know a little bit more about how the production is going, more so than like the average Joe like me or you. But still though, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take their word for it on when a movie is specifically coming out, especially when they're mainly hired to just do the voiceover work. They're like, unless they're also working on the production as a producer, which I highly doubt they would bring in Eddie Murphy to also produce the Shrek, the fifth Shrek film and the Donkey movie. Honestly, it's like, okay, you could take their word for it, but you have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. I'm just saying. But when it comes to the release date, yeah, I highly doubt it's going to be coming out in 2025, mainly because DreamWorks Animation has already announced 3 movies that's going to be coming out this year from the studio. First of all, you got the Dogman movie based on the Dave Pilkey books, which that's going to be coming out early in 2025. Like, I believe it's going to be, I think the end of January that's going to be coming out. And then they've already announced that there's going to be The Bad Guys 2 that will be coming out next August. So that's already their definitive sequel that they have. And then finally, you got the Gabby's Dollhouse movie that's based on their preschool show that they have on Netflix. That's going to be coming out in September. So already, DreamWorks Animation has 3 movies for 2025. I highly doubt that they're somehow going to suddenly include a 4th feature, especially one that would be as prominent and hyped up as Shrek 5. If I'm going to go and make my personal prediction on when the Shrek 5 would probably come out, my guess would be at this point, the release date at the earliest would maybe be late 2026. Maybe in the summer of 2026 if they really are in that much of a rush. But for now, I'm going to say it's either late 2026 or early 2027, or maybe even the summer of 2027. That's just going to be my guess. But 2025 coming out next year? Nah, man. I highly doubt it. I mean, maybe there is a chance that I could be proven wrong, and maybe Universal is going to announce some release date switches, and maybe The Bad Guys 2 is going to be delayed to 2026, and they're going to go and take Shrek 5 and have that released in the summer of 2025. That could be possible, but I highly doubt that. Honestly, I don't, I'm not going to trust that. But for now, it looks like there is a high likelihood that coming soon, we're going to be getting a Shrek 5 and maybe even a Donkey movie. All right, so with that said now, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, how do you all feel about the potential comeback of Shrek and maybe even a Donkey spinoff? And if you're a fan of the Shrek films, I would love to know what you think. So let me know your thoughts on the chat wall right over here. All right, so let's see what we got here. You had me at somebody. Man, I always loved the Shrek franchise ever since I was little, and I've always been anticipating ever since they said the possibility of a Shrek 5. In fact, coming back from Puss in Boots 2, it's still shocking that they did up their game that year alone, and who knows what the possibilities are when it comes to that animation. Like how would they look like when they're all stylized without the realism from the previous films? It starts a new, it's a start of a new chapter. Exactly, and it's already the start of with Puss in Boots 2, it looks like it's the start of a great chapter. Like, this could be something that could legitimately bring back Shrek in a fantastic way. Let's see now. We also got, over here. So I'm a bit concerned about this. Why are people more okay with Shrek 5 but complaining about Toy Story 5? Because it's popular to hate Disney. It's because of how much clout that they would get. That's the reason. I feel like this might be weird for a new Shrek movie and whether DreamWorks can afford it. Remember what the Kung Fu Panda 4 director said about the actors getting a pay raise for each sequel they reprise? Banderas has been on Puss for 5 movies. Can they afford all 4? I feel like a Donkey spinoff is might have a Mater problem. This is coming from someone who likes Cars 2. I mean, honestly, maybe, but I can't say for sure. I mean, I don't know the logistics of the specific contracts that people like Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and Antonio Banderas got. Maybe they got something like that, but we'll have to wait and see with what they might do. Maybe they'll probably have like some kind of update on it, because keep in mind, like Shrek is like a franchise that's been going on for literally decades. Like, no joke, in 2 years, the first Shrek movie is going to be 25 years old. So maybe they'll have an update on that to go and rearrange their contracts to see if maybe they'll still be on board but not be paid like millions upon millions of dollars to not like shrink up the budget. We'll have to wait and see with what they have to do with that. Let's see now. Somehow Shrek is back. Oh, and along with his ass. Yes, I've been hearing about Shrek 5 for a very long time. That's in development hell and has far more interesting story on how Shrek would come back. Looks like it's finally going to happen soon. But that donkey movie wouldn't be a bad idea either. Just as long as Eddie Murphy is allowed to add more creative elements in it, then that would be great. Overall, we are not ogre yet with Shrek and Donkey. Oh yes, and don't forget, that's going to be another major thing that will return. With the comeback of Shrek, you know there's going to be all those godforsaken ogre puns. Like, trust me, I lived through the Shrek Forever After days, and that marketing has been nothing but ogre puns. Like, piles and piles of ogre puns. I've already heard it because of Shrek Forever After. Alright, let's see what other comments we got. I was very surprised to see when Eddie Murphy announced that Shrek 5 and a Donkey spin-off are happening over at DreamWorks Animation. Given how Universal is slowly taking advantage of Shrek in theme parks, re-releases in theaters, and 4K upgrades along with Puss in Boots 2, it was bound to happen, but I hope it comes out very good, though I am unsure about the new spin-off film, but I hope it is good with a fresh story and animation. Whether it comes out, it'll likely do big or even a billion-dollar hit. Exactly, and that's one of the major things why Shrek is coming back, is because the franchise is still massively popular. Like, the movies are still big hits, both on Peacock and on Netflix, and of course, it's still getting a lot of major representation. Like, you're getting all those re-releases on, like, 4K and Blu-rays and stuff like that. And of course, like, not to mention, even this year, Universal Orlando did open their new kids section that's all about DreamWorks, and one of the big sections is, of course, with Shrek. Like, yeah, they did have to close down Shrek 4D, but that doesn't mean Shrek is leaving Universal. Like, it is still, Shrek is still a prominent asset in Universal. So that's another reason why it is very credible that DreamWorks is making a Shrek 5. It was bound to happen. Let's see what other comments we got. I'm not sure about Shrek 5. They could do something like change the animation style as a new chapter and maybe have Shrek's children grown up. As for the Donkey spin-off, I am not sure what story they can do about Donkey, and I hope this won't follow the same footsteps as Cars 2 and Minions, focus on a comic relief as the main character. Yeah, I understand the concerns. Although one thing I would be curious to know, and I mean, I know this might be a bit controversial, I would like to see them do something that is similar to open season Scared Silly. And by that I mean that if they could go and have a little bit of a reset, like have some, not all, but have some of the elements that they introduced, like in Shrek Forever After and Shrek the Third, like completely opt that out, like pretty much forget about the kids, like pretend that they don't exist, and just like mainly focus on Shrek and Fiona and Donkey. You know, like have that, like start off with a clean slate and even like backtrack from what you have done with the sequels. We don't need those reminders about the kids and stuff like that, okay? Like the parent trope already, it has been overdone, and it already felt tiring when I recently watched Ultraman Rising. So that could be an idea that I would like to go and suggest. Rather, if they're going to do that, I don't know. All right, I'll read one more comment before we're going to go and cap this off. So let's see. I'm all for the idea for another Shrek movie, especially with how nowadays Shrek is taken a lot more seriously after Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. As for a Donkey movie, considering how well Puss did with his movie, then why not Donkey? So overall, we could get something on par with the first two movies. Exactly, and I mean, like, if it is gonna happen, then let's just hope for the best. And with that said, that should do it for this special little Canada Day special of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Hey, I am so glad that even though we had a little bit of a hiccup before, this went very smoothly and this went all around great. And we had one heck of an awesome episode, and a lot of it is because of you guys. So I want to say thank you all so much for joining me on this. And also, I just want to go and state that if you guys would like to go and enjoy more AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, then all you have to do is just go and subscribe to the AniMat Live Twitch channel and the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel. And also, if you are listening to me on this, or if you're listening to this on a podcast service, then don't forget to go and follow me on Spotify, Google, and Apple. And with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.